Let's talk through how Michelle Keegan's gone from this to this. Yes, that is right. This is the same page. So hot. Thank you all that voted on this quiz. Majority of you were right. Now I'll talk through quickly the results. 95% of you voted that she think that she's had Botox. I agree. I'll explain later. 75% agreed with my estimation of dermal filler. I will talk through where I think she's had treatment. 50-50 split, which I would expect for nose jobs, whether this be surgical or with dermal filler. I'll explain why shortly. And with regards to her lips, majority of you voted that she has had 2 mils plus in her lips. I'll explain why. Let's start with her then. As you can see, when she was much younger, she has a fuller face, and this is actually an advantage for when you get older, because when you age, your fat pads in your face actually atrophy, which basically means shrink. This then means that your face can then look more thinner, and actually that can create better definition, which I think has definitely helped here. Moving on, obviously fashions change. You can see that, with her eyebrows, they were much thinner. That helps with looking at your facial proportions. Makeup styles can make you look older depending on what's in fashion. Obviously, now favouring a more natural look that enhances your features will always stand you in good stead to make you more attractive. This is the same for aesthetics as well. Let's move on to this picture. You can start to see the signs of aging, particularly underneath her eyes. There's volume loss. Her smile lines, you can see that's volume loss. And lower part of her face, you can actually start to see more what we call depressions, which again are volume loss at the corners of the mouth, which is the marionette area. You can see her nose is more like a hump. And as you can tell here, miraculously smooth. But I'll talk about that in a second. But what I'm trying to explain here is you can see that as this volume loss, there isn't any volume loss here, and that is one of the secrets of actually working out whether someone has had dermal filler treatment, because dermal filler fills volume loss. Dermal filler also creates structure, so let's talk about that nose. Now, I believe that you're voting between 50-50 of whether this was surgery or whether this was non-surgical rhinoplasty or nose filler. It's common to be confused because the results can look equally as good. There are certain times when you can't correct someone's nose with things like dermal filler, when particularly like size, or if particularly if they've got larger size nose, should I say, but if they're a complicated case, previous surgeries that particularly need to be corrected, they normally need to have surgery again. But talking about Michelle Keegan's case, I do just think this is dermal filler. It's a lovely result. She didn't have a particularly big nose in the first place, so that's where you can just smooth out that. This then brings us on nicely to her lips. Look at her lips when she was younger to look at her lips now. You can see that she's actually gained quite a bit of height, particularly in her top lip, which was much thinner than her lower lip. Now, when we look at Western women, we do want the lips to be ideally 1 to 1.6 in ratio. Basically that means that your top lip should be slightly thinner than your lower lip, a bit like mine. But as you can see with Michelle Keegan's lips here, they're getting on towards, I think they're about 1 to 1.6. She would have had to have had more than 1 mil placed in her lips over multiple sittings to grow that type of height and volume. This is normal, this is to be expected, and this is what you should be advised if you're looking for something similar. Lastly, talking about the rest of her face. As you can see, her chin compared to here, you can see a little bit like a dimple here, nothing there. Now that is, again, dermal filler in her chin. She's probably had a little bit either side, which is a pre-gel sulcus area, just to smooth that out to make it still look natural. And you can see her cheeks, as you can see just about here, when she's smiling, she's got a little bit of volume loss. Now look, I know before Keyboard Warriors come out, she is not smiling in this, but you can see that her cheeks are very lifted, and I would expect a little bit of volume loss at her age now. So I do think she's had a little bit of cheek filler. Now let's think about how much in total that she's had done. I have said that I think roughly about 6 to 7 mils of dermal filler. Remember, it only lasts 1 year, so this is a maintenance thing. So let's talk Botox. If you can see her eyebrows just here, they're lying a bit more horizontally compared to here and here, which are more arched. Now don't get me wrong, this could be down to her having her eyebrows more shaped that way, but I think that she's probably had a little bit of Botox, particularly her forehead is impeccably smooth. I wouldn't expect that at her age. I'd expect to see some lines, but you can see how her eyebrows are lifted, more arched, and this is likely to be due to a chemical brow lift, which is basically where you place Botox in certain places, particularly the tail of your eyebrow, and don't put too much here and here, and that basically creates a lift. lovely arched eyebrows. And last but not least, let's talk about her skin. Don't get me wrong, these photos are probably airbrushed to an inch of their life, but I reckon that she's been using good quality skincare to help maintain her result. Then you've also got the fact that she is wearing more natural style makeup, and that definitely helps to create a more attractive looking outcome. She is definitely someone that knows how to way around her makeup counter. Now, I'd always love to know your thoughts, so make sure you comment, share,